Hello everyone, and we are back on another episode of Krakenheim, and this one was actually a little bit unexpected because something about this map was bothering me, okay? Like, I just couldn't get mentally into the groove on it, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then, last night, it dawned on me. The issue I'm having with this, and I think maybe it was after I did the building scale here. See my last video if you've not seen that already. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this little draft building scale right here demarks, something in the region of 60 feet, for the sake of argument. That means that our river going across here, or narrowest point here, is, I don't know, what do you think? Maybe 10 times that, so 600 feet? Not insignificant, but not exactly major, right? That was the first thing that was bothering me. We're kind of also defining the width of the river in having the width of this, or the scale of this defined. Now, we do that all of the time. We did that on Wamptham, and it didn't bother me so much. But Wamptham, the scale is larger. There's 20,000 people living there. So, this 60 feet was more like, I don't know, 100, 120, whatever. So the river was a lot wider, and I felt like, that's okay. It feels like a major river, regardless of what the exact measurement is. I'm fine with that. With here, the river feels minor. Right? It doesn't feel as significant. And I could be wrong on that. And maybe somewhere in documentation it is defined that this river is only, let's say, 600 feet across at this particular point. But I didn't want to be the one that put that down in stone. Additionally, we know that there is an east-west road going here. And I didn't want to add a bridge going across. Now, maybe I should. But after just doing Wamptham, which is on the east side of a river, with an east-west major road, with a bridge going over it, I didn't want to then get straight into doing the same again. Additionally, I thought, with this being Frost Barbarians, and we're messing around with the sort of concept of having a heavily sort of Norse influence, which I think we should, I felt like keeping the river open to their long boat traffic would be appropriate. It would feel different. It would feel different than the Wamptham. I think it would fit the culture of these people. And I feel like if they have traffic going east and west on the road, they're quite capable of ferrying them, right? And it gives us an opportunity of having some docks out here, as we've sort of shown in previous sort of videos, where all that traffic comes in. Maybe there's a sort of loading, unloading area, and if they need to go further west, then they do so. Now, having this on this side here also gives us an opportunity to show buildings like the exact equivalent on the other side. And I like that. I do like because it starts to show a level of the city, the business, what's going on, how they actually, perform their trade. And you start to see the pulse, the flowing blood of the city, right? I like that. That's a plus. However, by showing this river like this, there are a few things, aside from what I've already mentioned, that bothers me. One is we're kind of almost implying a certain proximity to the ocean. Especially with this, right? We're definitely, with the width of the city, with the width of the river, working against, this just starts to look funny. And I think the shape is kind of weird. I think the shape, this is kind of interesting. I love the concept of having some kind of fortification here. But this almost becomes a secondary feature. So I've started to wonder if instead we should be doing something a little bit more like this. Let's get rid of that. Let's do a transform. What if we actually do more like this? What if we focus like that? We really just put the whole camera lens on Krakenheim. Now we will still have our coastline, like so, but leave all of this to the river. Then we could still have our wonderful and interesting walled structure, like so. Still draws a couple of little boats coming in, like this. Maybe cinch this up a little bit, because I do want the outer ditches to be a feature of this. Bring in the eastern road over there. Come over here. More like that. Really focus on it. It will really start to feel different then. And you know, this can snake on through over here. I'm thinking that. I think it will look very different than Wantham. And I keep mentioning that, but only because it is a city on the east side of a river with an east-west road. There are too many similarities back to back. So I want to push in the opposite direction. But now this river, its true width, our true proximity to the open sea, none of that is like cast onto the page here. It's left open. And I think that's what we need to do. We still know it's on a river. We can see that they have this wonderful walled barricade on the just into the shallows of the river here. I don't know, what do you think? I kind of like this shape, but it's not even a shape. I like this positioning. I like this positioning of the camera lens more. I think it's doing more for me. Let me know your comments and the thoughts. I think this is where we're going. Let me know your comments and the thoughts. What did I just say there? Is that even English? Well, it was, but apparently not in any form of native speaking form. Let me know your comments down below. But I think this is where I'm going to start pushing. I think this is the direction that I'm going to go in. So next up, I'm actually going to start marking the districts and roads. Normally, let's just get my trace layer back on here. What I would do is I would kind of just like do lines like this. You've seen me in my former guides on how I draw cities. Kind of do this type of thing. And I'm marking the edge or where I want major roads to be. And, well, hell, I might even roll with something like this. But I'm going to do this in a little bit more detail because a Viking town or city is going to have a particular feel to it. Not only from the point of view that I want to make sure that there's a longhouse somewhere and so on and so forth, but the scale that we're kind of doing our buildings is a little bit more defined. We're going to have a little bit more backyards, cattle pens than you would normally see on a map that has 20,000 people in it, let's say. So I want to make sure that instead of like just entire districts sort of being drawn like this, that it's way more distinct. Buildings won't be quite that large here, but a little bit more distinct, and that will mean that I really need to have a better idea about where my roads are going to be. So that is what I'm going to focus on next, is getting those roads in place. So I will do that in the next video. I'll probably just do a time lapse on it. and I will see you in that one. Check out my Patreon if you're enjoying this. I actually do behind the scenes and in-depth guides on all of these cities and how I go about it. I'm also doing a blow-by-blow on my Cosmology 2023 map, which is going to have over 1,000 game systems on it. You heard that right. So if you are a supporter, if you like what I'm doing here, please check out my Patreon. Otherwise, I will see you in the next show. Bye, folks.